Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, and welcome to a post about plagiarism detection algorithms. I would really like to test two plagiarism detection algorithms. The first is very fast, and the second one makes more sense in a linear thinking style. The first one requires thinking in terms of a 2D grid. So you take a 60,000 word novel and enter it into a 128 by 128 grid. And this is important because it's a power of 2. And this would cut off whatever doesn't fit. You'd remove proper names and made up words, and, the, but, and so on. And words would be defined in a very broad sense of the meaning. For example, married in another life would be classified as a word, and they would be stored in the grid as numbers that indicate their uniqueness. So you'd need to have a very extensive thesaurus, a conceptual thesaurus, to use to construct this grid. It would basically reduce a novel down to a grid of numbers. And then the grid would be divided up into smaller 2 by 2 boxes, and the most unique word out of 4 would be selected. So this would preserve the spatial arrangement of the words within the novel, and as you compress it, this is a sort of text compression algorithm to identify the locations of the most unique words in a novel in real space. Now you have a 64 by 64 grid after this, selecting the most unique word of 4. And then you repeat this so that you now have a 32 by 32 grid. You repeat and repeat just a few steps until now you have a 16 by 16 and an 8 by 8 set of words. In the final step, you're down to 4 words that represent the most unique words or concepts in the novel. And this is quite a rapid compression algorithm that could be done for all of the novels in a database. So say you have 100 million novels, you could do this 100 million times, and you wouldn't run out of computing power. You don't have to use any kind of machine learning. You're not really breaking the bank on computing power. So now you can start comparing these novels in these grids of numbers. You could call up the 8 by 8 set of unique words in a novel and compare those to all of the novels in your set. And then you can check if the spatial arrangement of those words is the same. And if a sequence of over 10 unique words is found in 2 different novels, you have a red flag for structural plagiarism. And this is a very quick computing procedure. So now if you do a similar algorithm, but you don't preserve these spatial relationships and you only deal with one-dimensional strings, you end up with a slower algorithm, but it would be interesting to benchmark the speed and see if 2 similar algorithms, a sequential and a 1D and a 2D algorithm, if they made the same predictions. I think it would be really nice if Amazon could benchmark and incorporate such an algorithm to flag works that have a high likelihood of structural, non-verbatim plagiarism. In that way, the earliest author can be notified and they can read the newer work and decide if it is plagiarized or not. And you'd have to also have, within these this conceptual lookup table, you'd have to also have a table of synonyms, because with the way people are spinning text today, they will use lots of synonyms to disguise their copying. Before such an algorithm could work, you'd also need to get rid of as much AI-generated hash on the platform as possible, all of these no-content novels that are just made up of gibberish, because those sorts of books make the signal much harder to extract from the noise. So, and by AI-generated hash, I mean the books that have a great cover, a great first chapter, but if you look more closely at a page of prose in the middle of the book, it may look perfectly normal, but if you try to identify the narrative logic on a page-to-page basis, you can't find any that spans more than a few paragraphs. It's like novel salad, and there's already software on the market that people are using to create these sorts of books. They're perfect for money laundering. So once they get rid of all of that, which I think they will because Ingram has made them illegal, we will have a workable system. It is really nice to be able to show kids that you can solve problems. You know, our world is so full of seemingly unsolvable problems, but this is one that has a straightforward technical solution. And I'd really like to see that come to life and solve the problem that has caused my novel to be copied 5 times within 2 years by authors who are probably just too dumb to realize that what they're doing is plagiarism, because they aren't able to see that taking 55 plot points from another book in order is illegal. Because people get away with it, they think it's okay. And the reason people are getting away with it is because there are so many books being produced that nobody has the time to read all of them and compare all of them. It didn't used to be this way. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something that will motivate you to solve some problems of your own. Please tune in next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.